A thread from Comrade Fudge. At HNI John Miller responds to Jennifer Rubin. Jennifer Rubin says, without New York and other blue states, the economy will remain in a ditch and your re-election chances will evaporate. She's talking to Trump. The country's future does not depend on Kentucky's economy, but it does rest on the recovery of Illinois, New York, California, etc. Comrade Fudge responds, all right, this is my official breaking point here. This is the level of seething rage that only occurs when I see a stupidity and ignorance that would condemn someone to poverty, yet they are exalted for instead. No, I'm not going to swear. This is a cold anger. This is the kind of anger that leaves a hole in my chest, a sinking feeling in my gut. Blue states are trying to break Donald Trump, you ignorant harlot, you two-faced reject harlequin, you absolute clown show of a writer. Blue states are the driving force behind the economic stagnation of the U.S. Democrats who run Democrats who run anything at all have only brought about economic stagnation. Let's start with the dawn of the, let's start with the basic economic principle that is irrefutable. Cities are the driving force behind economies. Within cities, there exists a critical mass of people whose commercial activities grow exponentially. It doesn't matter what civilization, what part of the world you're looking at. As soon as cities form, economies boom, and nations are born, empires are forged on the back of the king of humanity, currency. Paired with this was the concept of free enterprises. The more people are given the liberty to interact with markets, the more those economies grow. The more bureaucracy and corruption they must face in order to participate in the market, the less the economy grows. This is a basic principle. A state health inspector cutting in line as people wait for takeout during the lunch rush to demand an inspection, making sure the restaurant is following the governor's Kung Flu guidelines, is bureaucracy getting in the way. This happened to me today. Of course, I don't expect a failed writer who had to turn to editorialized journalism because they failed to fucking miserably to understand basic economic principles. They don't understand how worthless their words are, after all. But I'll continue for those of us who do. At the dawn of the United States, you had the North and the South. In the North, cities were the focal point of growth, with the basic understanding that government getting out of the way was the best way for everyone to profit. These were a people who had rebelled in Boston because they refused to pay an additional layer of taxes for their tea, which was being used by the British to warp the markets and encourage purchases from British-endorsed trading monopolies. Bureaucracy. Meanwhile, in the South, the Democrats focused their economic expansion in rural areas. There was no attempt to build a merchant class. They wanted to export valuable raw materials. That was their economic model. They were absolute morons. Not only did they not attempt to build a middle class, creating a social order of poor farmers and rich plantation owners, but they undercut what middle class could exist. How? Well, let me tell you, the whole Uncle Tom's Cabin slaves in the fields, it was worse than that. What those jackasses did was take slaves and teach them skilled trades. Artisans, carpenters, metal workers, all that. See, why pay some middle-class merchant when they could simply own the people making all the specialty goods? How would free people compete with slave labor? So, when the Civil War was over and the slaves were freed, much of that newly skilled freed labor fled north. The end result is that because the Democrats were so obsessed with personal wealth that they were utterly ignorant of how to manage a larger economy. They fucked over everyone in the South and left it an economic ruin, including Kentucky. Yeah. Look up the governor history of Kentucky. Wait, I'll do that for you. A sea of blue. Wait, I'll do another one. Alabama, a sea of blue. Arkansas, sea of blue. Mississippi, sea of blue. They governed these states into the fucking Stone Age. Then what happened? They retreated to the cities and learned how to win in the cities. Then they went to the north, where, unlike the south, where the rural areas held sway, cities were king. They painted the North blue. Let's take a look at Pennsylvania, shall we? Let's look at their list of governors. Not nearly as blue as Kentucky, or Arkansas, or Alabama. New Jersey, not nearly as blue either now, is it? New York, not as blue as these southern red states either, huh? Weird. Isn't that weird, fake writer semi-lady? Democrats' only claim to economies is taking the successes of others and then pretending that they aren't royally fucking them up. So selfish, so absolutely corrupt, so absurd are these Democrats with their grift that they now claim that they alone hold the key to economic recovery if only they receive bailout money to be spent however they damn well please. A recovery from the disaster that they caused. They took the largest state economies built on centuries of work that they hadn't yet managed to tear down with the sheer ineptitude, and they shut them down entirely. And they have the gall to parade morons like a certain blogger around making absurd claims. You know what? Let's do another one. Let's look at Illinois. Look at all that red in a blue state. Almost like they recently came down with a case of the Democrat squirts. That's how we got Obama. Squirted right out of Chicago. But my southern switch, they wail and gnash their teeth like hordes of unwashed demons crawling from the rancid pits of brimstone. Look at every southern city that was notable during the civil rights movement. Look at the history of their city governments. Dem monopoly. Every single one of them has, and perpetually had, stretching back to the earliest records, Democrat-controlled governments exclusively, from the mayors to the city councils. There was no southern switch. They abandoned the rural areas to the shattered, bombed-out shitholes that were the cities, and then took the northern cities and through a combination of corruption and sheer fucking propaganda used those cities to take the governor positions. The Democrat Party is a cancer. It is an STD. It is Ebola. It is pneumonia for economies. Because when it comes to a healthy economy, the Democrats demonstrably, historically, have absolutely no idea what in the flying fuck they are doing. The end. Period. Stop.